Hello, and welcome to Socially Distant Networking. And today I'm talking with Lee Ford. Hi, Lee. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Sadie. I'm Lee. I'm a Paralympian. I'm the Paralympic paralegal because it says so on LinkedIn. Archer, seamstress. I like to sew. I design costumes. I set stuff on fire, belly dance, martial artist, you name it. I've done it. And I coach archery. I shoot archery. If you could possibly do it wrong in archery, I've done that. Yeah. And, I'm a paralegal to pay the bills because you need money to, get to, World Cup all over the, world. So, hi.
Hi. So, when did you start getting involved in archery?
Well, like I started archery when I was 7. My dad actually, we would go to these huntsman shows, and you look at the boats and the RVs, and down on the bottom floor, tucked in a hallway, would be like this little archery range with little balloons, and you'd have like little tiny bows and arrows, and they'd have, balloons on the target, and popping balloons never gets old. I'm being professionally, and other pros like, oh, pop balloons. Yeah, this is great. Never gets old. So, it started like that. And so archery was always kind of like a little peripheral in my life ever since. My dad taught me to shoot. He used to hunt bear bow, not compound, but just like a traditional bow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, super cool. And had a bow, just kind of hang out. But, I was doing all these other things. I had like ballet, He didn't like me to go to the archery range because he went to like 3D, which is very hunterish oriented, and he wanted me to be ladylike. And at the time, archers who shot target archery had to wear white, like white t-shirts, white shorts. Dude, there's nothing like seeing your idols in 1987 in like these white shorty shorts and gym socks, and you're just like, oh man, that's wow. Look at the mustache. Hey, that's awesome.
So what was the cultural background to that? Is it kind of like how with tennis there's that tradition of
Yeah, exactly. It's that whole country club kind of thing, like you've got pictures from the Olympics in like 1902, 1908, I can't remember. And you're very, white lawn dress with a straw boater hat, shooting arrows, with your arrows hanging off your hip. Like that's not changed. But up until, the 90s, it was like you wore white, ladies and gentlemen, and it was
wow.
like it was a big deal when they let khakis shoot. Like they added in navy pants, and then khakis, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna wear khakis, and you're like, God, y'all got to get out of the house more, seriously.
Wow.
But so when I was a kid, my dad didn't know target archery from a hole in the wall, so he didn't know how ladylike I could possibly be. So he didn't I didn't get to go to archery as much as I wanted to, and I did other things. Fast forward to when I got hurt in 2004, 16 years ago.
Wow.
This past April. I got hurt. I'm paralyzed, partially paralyzed, and I can't do any of the things that I'm used to doing. And, I was a belly dancer, fire performer. I was doing aerial stuff and hand balancing. I mean, circus arts, I was doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't, Stephanie Farley, and she's was shooting, and this was 2008.
Yeah.
And we had in 2007 we had done this really cool fire routine with Brent Fagan, who was my fiance at the time, and he stunt fighting extraordinaire, but not the greatest guy to hang out with sometimes. And, you go through people are in your life for a reason. You know, it is what it is. We're still friends. It's fine. But she was like, I really don't like you talking to my friend like that. You know, I'm like, okay, thank you. I love you. And so she wanted to get me out of the house because, I wasn't doing anywhere near the stuff that I used to do. And I was kind of miserable about, like, my pain levels were just through the roof and everything. And she took me to archery. And so I bring my bow my dad had given me when I was 14, and they hand me an Olympic recurve style setup. I'm like, what do I do with this? And they're like, point it that way and shoot. I'm like, okay. And so I shoot, and that's it. I love it. I'm in love with archery all over again. I see, the Paralympics in 2008 in Beijing, and Lindsay Carmichael shooting, and like, I can do that. And, and she retired and I joined, got on the team. It was kind of funny. We never got to shoot it together at the same time. The Koreans and the Chinese are convinced that we're sisters. And I'm like, no, just because we're white and we're blonde, we're not the same people. Right. It was adorable. And, but she was totally my inspiration to, like, hey, why don't I try to make the team? Gosh, and Stephanie hurt her shoulder, so I didn't have her as my buddy anymore. But, like, archery just, like, glommed onto me and sucked me in and gave me focus and gave me new goals. And I'm someone who's very goal oriented. Like, I like accomplishing something. I like, okay, I break this goal down. I'm going to break it down into little steps. Okay, we're going to start here, and then we go to here, and then we go to here, and then eventually my butt is going to be in London shooting on the world stage, like Channel 4, BBC. It's on TV 24/7. Yeah. The Paralympics, 24/7 in Britain. They've got TV shows now that are still, like, on TV with two disabled hosts and a comedian host, and they talk about sports and all this other stuff. And that never would have happened if it hadn't been for the Paralympic Games being in London and the broadcasting just being as intense as the Olympic Games. The Paralympics are the second largest sporting event in the world.
Yeah.
I came home from that and it was crickets.
Right.
Like, and so it's like, oh, really? Is that the Special Olympics? No, it is not.
Is there a lot of confusion there? Do people really?
It is. Special Olympics, bless their hearts, I love them to death. My husband, when he was in the Army, was like one of the guys at the end with the kids, and they're running and give him a hug, and he's like, oh, it's really dusty in here, and yeah, big tough, Green Beret. There right? You go. And but I don't get a hug when I get off the field. I don't get a medal for participating.
Right.
I'm nose to the grindstone, working hard, just as hard as my able-bodied compatriots do. So, I want to win. I'm not there to, look cute and, just like get a hug after. No, I want to be on that podium. I want a big, fat, heavy medal around my neck, and that's what I want. And, and we're all like that.
Yeah.
We're all. So yeah, having that archery goal, it really, one, it made me stop being in denial about exactly how bad my disability was. And it validated my disability. And I have a joint hypermobility disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Yeah.
Yes. And, and that's never going to go away. Luckily, I had some amazing treatment in Luxembourg a year and a half ago, and a lot of the paralysis is better. I'm never going to be 100%. That's fine. The EDS never going to go away. That's fine. But if I hadn't had archery, I wouldn't have found out, hey, shopping in a wheelchair is so much easier than trying to, like, hobble in the mall or the grocery store. like tried traveling without the chair. Oh God, no, hot mess.
Really?
And I have met some amazing people. Like I am completely humbled by and in awe of. My friend Angela Madsen right now is in the middle of the Pacific by, I think it's Guadalupe Island. She's rowing to Hawaii from California.
Whoa. Wow.
This woman, no, let me tell you about Angela. She's former military. She got hurt. She has a tattoo of a zipper on her spine because it's like they're just going in every so often, just like zip it up, tinker around and zip it closed. She's amazing. She is so amazing. And she's rowing, and she's got like, she's got to wipe off the solar cells for power and like the para anchor kind of thing, and it's just, she's amazing, and Matt Stutzman, the guy who shoots bows with his feet.
Yeah.
Nice guy. So, oh my gosh, he is such a ham. He is so funny. And, but like now there's like several other people who, because they saw him shooting with his feet, they're shooting with their feet. They're going to be their own division soon. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, wow. That's rad.
I know. It's like, I mean, my tofu is strong, but I don't know that I could, put my clippy in my hair, with my toes.
Right.
I'm flexible enough, I could do it. Just, I can't. No. It's amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, archery's given me a lot. It really has. It's given me a lot.
So we have a question from somebody who's watching this on YouTube right now.
Oh gosh.
And it's Job from Texas. And Job asked if there's any change in public perception to the Paralympics, or is it still the same since you were in it?
I think in my circle of friends, it's definitely different. Like a lot of people hadn't heard of it.
Right.
They made Special Olympics, and they didn't know exactly what the Paralympics were. So I think it's definitely gotten more mainstream. But I mean, archery is kind of the ESPN 8, the Ocho kind of sport. We're small. It's a niche. So, but I think it has, like, since I first started 12 years ago. God.
Right.
Dang, it's like, when did that happen? Yeah, I think it has. I think there needs to be more. I think it needs to still, I think a lot of it, at least in this country, is if it's not on TV, it's not real.
Yeah.
So, we keep getting promises. Oh, we're going to have it. We're going to do it. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And after seeing what Channel 4 did in London, nobody has an excuse that nobody's going to watch that. The way the perceptions changed in the UK after the London Paralympic Games, I mean, they were running these ads called the Superhumans, and, it's like you've got like titanium on this part and that part. Or,
yeah, totally.
Badass little person swimmer, or, and it's so cool. And that people with disabilities have an easier time getting a job in the UK now. They're more visible, realizing what ramps are for, you sit in my wheelchair, push yourself up that ramp. You think that maybe that's a little too steep? Yeah. Okay, good. So there's a lot more awareness. In America, we have the ADA,
right,
which is, the ADA is 30 years old. We still have a lot in terms of perception.
Yeah.
And inclusiveness. When I was in the Pan American Games in Guadalajara, my Spanish was, working overtime. I was like, oh, slow down. Okay, I got that. But the one word that really kept being repeated was inclusivo.
Yeah.
inclusiveness and just like, I am a contributing member of society. My health things or my, disorder, whatever, I have to alter my immediate environment to be the most productive I can be, but I am damned productive. My brain works just as good as anybody else's. So, to say that, to someone, and this happened to me. Well, you're too pretty to be in a wheelchair.
What?
Thanks. And,
Wow.
and this was an older gentleman, and
Of
I
course
think he
it
wanted to
was.
compliment me, like that I was pretty. Like, thanks, I think. But there's gazillions of beautiful people who happen to use a wheelchair to get around. I
Yeah.
love a wheelchair. My wheelchair's name is Nigel. He's sparkly and he's special, and we ride the short bus. So therefore, his name is Nigel. Because he's part of me. He helps me get around. He helps me live life with less pain. I love my chair. I'm not full-time wheelchair user, but I'm a wheelchair user. So it's like, dude, thank you for that. But, what I look like has nothing to do with my chair, and you can be beautiful in a chair and you can be ugly. You can be an ugly person inside and walk on both legs like there's nobody's business, going around. It has nothing to do with anything. So it was, there's work to be done. There's for sure work to be done. But I think every time I talk to people and say, look, if I can get my butt off the couch and go shoot 100 arrows a night, you can, go take a walk around your neighborhood. You don't have any excuse.
Right.
I'll guilt trip you into it. So, yeah. I think we've got a long way to go in terms of inclusivo here in America, but there's some really bright spots too. When I see what people in other countries deal with, hey, this curb cut's not cut right on this corner. Dude in the Paralympics had a stick. Like, that was his crutch, was a pole. It was a little taller than he was. He had no foot. I think, I don't know what country he represented, from Africa. But he had a stick.
Wow.
That was his adaptive equipment to get, and that's how he just got around, kind of pulled his way around instead of putting, he didn't have a prosthesis.
Wow. Yeah.
Perfect good residual limb for a prosthesis, but I'm sure no money, no resources for one. So, I mean, if I'm going to be a disabled person, I'm really lucky to be a disabled person in the United States. Where in some countries it's, a shame to have a disability, or
right.
It's a black mark against your whole family, that someone was born wrong, or God, they blown up, or some horrible crap. It's like,
or the devil did it, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get off of that. I don't want a soapbox.
People have lots of different levels of ability. And, you mentioned this dude having a stick as opposed to having a prosthesis or whatever. How is all of that accommodated for and kind of normalized in a competition situation?
That's a good question. Like archery, we have several levels of sport. There is, first you divide by bow. You have the recurve bow, which is what the only thing that they shoot in the Olympic Games. Mm-hmm. And then you have the compound bow, which is considered an adaptive device. And that is not in the Olympic Games. Hmm. And then that's pretty much the divisions: men, women, bows, just like regular, archery. And then there's a division. And so that's like, if you're an amputee, you're shooting against people in wheelchairs, you know. But if you're like a quad or, you know, it used to be a multiple amputee kind of situation. If you've got trunk balance now, you don't qualify in that division anymore. Didn't like the guy who kept winning. Because I'm like, he has one hand, one arm. If he's a big, strong person, you know, he still doesn't have a hand and an arm and doesn't have a leg, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, there's a guy who won the gold medal he was a quadriplegic, you know, obviously he's not the best out there all the time. So, you know, but that's pretty much the divisions, you know, is pretty easy. Now, in other levels of sport, let's take wheelchair rugby, because wheelchair rugby came up today.
Yeah.
Rugby is played in a basketball tennis chair that's armored, basically. And it's played by people who are quadriplegics or are deficient in at least 3 limbs. So you've got guys who've lost hands and feet, or you've got guys or girls, you know, who are quadriplegics. They broke their neck. And there's a point system, and you're only allowed so many points on the court at one time. You know, so, and each person, you're either 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you know, so the most ability is a 5, least amount of ability is a 1. So your math has to add up, and you can't go over this certain threshold number. And so, like in a sport like that, you know, so you might have 2 guys out there who are 4s and a couple of 2s or something, you know, your coach has to constantly, you know, keep that who he sends in to replace whom. And that sport is hardcore.
Yes.
As this one lady has said, you know, I'm like, I've already broken my neck. What else is there to worry about? You know,
Right.
you know, you lift up the injuries, and it's like, yeah, I dislocated the shoulder, and I got a concussion, and I got stitches here, and none of it from their injury beforehand. That's just a given. No, it's the current injuries just from playing. And I mean, it's a sport where they travel with their own welder.
Yeah.
You know, so we're just, hold on, I'll just bang that right out. Hold on, you know, we'll just, there we go. Get tacked down on there. So that's a fun sport. It's called Murder Ball.
Yeah.
And there's a documentary about that. So if you get a chance, rent that. Oh my God. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. And those are the best guys to hang out with, too. They're really cuckoo. They're great. Oh, hi, kitty. Oh, yeah? Really? Dad wants to say hi. All right, well, I'm coming. Yeah? We'll get her.
Oh, there have been so many cat visitations on these.
I know.
Hi, darling.
Always got black on, so therefore we must get on top of her. Yeah. Hi, baby. What you doing?
Aww.
Okay. And hair. Text the kid. Come get the cat. So yeah. So in like track and field, there's different kinds of running where if you're running in a chair, like the racing wheelchairs, or you have like if you're running when you have both legs but you're missing arms, or if you're running on prosthetics, are you above the knee, are you below the knee, 1 or 2 legs, you know. And so it's called classification. Mm-hmm. And so when you're classified, they go through and they see what your ability is, and they push you, and sometimes, oh God, classification can hurt. Like if you're like me with like a paralysis type injury, but not really, and they just try to shove you over, and they're like, are you gonna catch me? Cause I'm going down.
Wow.
And I mean, it's just brutal. You get classified, and I'm like, how am I supposed to compete tomorrow? I'm crying my eyes out. I'm in so much pain. And they're like, yeah, okay, you're still disabled. I'm like, So classification can be, if you're an amputee, okay, yeah, this is where you're missing parts. Okay, it's fine. And sometimes it can be just a bear to experience. Less than fun.
Yeah.
But, and so that keeps, like in swimming, if someone's got the same injury, say at T10 in their spine, but somebody has more ability, or maybe they just work harder, there's this tendency to push them up into a harder division, more competitive division, with where maybe there's with like, or you're like a T6 and you're competing with the T10s, it's all different. I say T, but swimming everybody's got a different letter number system for particular to their sport. And then you've got, visually impaired, people doing long jump.
Wow.
Angela Mercy. I got a friend, Lex Gillette, just wrote a book. He's amazing. He's always had this, I've got one of his, the little rubber wristband things, and he's got one, and it's in English and in Braille. And who needs sight when you have a vision?
Oh, that's right.
I love to pieces. And he's got a book. Go buy his book. And he long jump. He's a multi-time medalist, and I'm like, no, I can't imagine. And this is the funny thing is when you're sitting around with a whole bunch of other disabled people and you're comparing like, oh, I have this and I have that. And yeah, I walk down the street and I dislocate my ankle, and they're like, oh, that's horrible. I wouldn't want that. And I'd be like, dude, I wouldn't want what you got. Or, we're all just like what we have is like, it's a piece of cake. I'm dealing with it. It's fine. But we suddenly realize somebody else's disability. We're like, nah, dude, I couldn't hang. So we're like, it's kind of funny. We're just like, no, you win. No, you win. And who wins the cripple crown,
Oh
yeah. And only we can say that.
Right. So that's a thing that's I'm curious about too. Sort of the in-group, out-group okays of communication and just how people are with their boundaries and things.
I know the archers have no boundaries. We have no filter. Just the coach just goes, oh dear God, no, stop. We're bad. We're so bad. But don't you, someone outside of our group that we haven't accepted, say crap about us, or we'll take you down in a heartbeat. And the funny thing is, it's like, you have these pro archers, like they make their living going around shooting stuff, poking holes in paper, foam animals or whatever. Got TV shows, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I can tell you how many times they have lost to one of our para archers. And it's so sweet.
Yeah.
It is just, yes. Because we're dangerous. Don't take us for granted. I'm a dangerous bitch. Do not get. And it's so. But if we adopt you and we take you in and you like, oh my God, I can't believe they just said that. Ah! And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. You can make the jokes and be one of the gang and it's perfectly awesome. But it has to be extended, I think, from us. Here's a funny story. So we're practicing team rounds, and we're practicing head to head because it's head to head eliminations after a ranking round. Is how archery happens. And so, you got to get used to the noise of the crowd and, the obnoxious foghorn they're using or, air horn, whatever they're using for the whistle. It's like, oh God, please turn that off. Get nightmares and PTSD from the whistle. And so we're like, yeah, woo. And so we've got a guy banging on the metal poles for the awning. Ding, 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 with an arrow. It drove Coach nuts.
Oh.
So she stands in front of the pole so he can't smack the pole anymore. He took off his leg and smacking his leg, because his leg happened to be a long tube, because he's got a Symes amputation. So he's got the bottom of his fib, but the ankle, everything is gone. So he's smacking this tube that is his socket. Smack, 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 smack. Doom, 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 doom. She took his leg and threw it.
What?
Past the shooting line. Because you can't go past the shooting line. That would be bad form.
Right, yeah.
It was so much fun. We're like, okay, note to self, do that in competition when we got our guys shooting, because we'll find it funny. And it's apparently extremely annoying to everybody else. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Any other situation would be radically inappropriate.
Yes, it would. Yes.
But this guy actually will walk around on his residual limb, and all the other amputees are going, like guy who's, got a little bit left of his arm, you smack it going through the doorway. I mean, that end of that bone is just always, it's tender. And I mean, the one guy just literally turns green. He can't watch it. He's like, stop it. Put your foot on.
Yeah.
Stop it. And Mike's like, what? This is great. I'm like, dude, and I'm laughing at it. So I'm like, we're both going to burn in hell, dude. And he's like, yeah, probably. Probably. But God, it's going to be fun. So, yeah. So there you go. Ask first. Don't assume. But, and asking questions like, hey, that's an interesting chair. Or I like your prosthetic. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's okay. It's fine. But, let us invite you in.
Right.
Don't. So there you go. I'm going to sip my Coke now.
So I know you have some days where you don't use a chair and some days that you do. And, some days you have assistance in walking and other days that you don't. Do you find that people who met you in one context treat you differently when they see you in the other?
Lee's walking.
Right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's weird with my condition. Like the end of the day gets hard. Unless, if I don't schedule laying down time, like gotta lay flat.
Right.
Yeah, like that's like an issue. Traveling, like I could maybe walk onto the plane. I am not walking off. So, if you see you walk on and you're like, I'm pushing my chair, ha ha ha. They're like, hey, that's weird. But by the time going from home to the airport, I'm already in a car for 2 hours and my hips are ready to dislocate.
Yep.
So I really can't walk. I could stand up and I'm really not happy about it. And so if I want to get through the airport, it's just so much faster. Use the chair. I can't stand in lines. Can't do it. I'll just sit down on the floor and I will scooch my butt from spot to spot, giving you a nice little clean, streak, on the floor as I go. But, most of the people I know who know me know that I have good days and bad days. I'll do something stupid and then not be able to walk for 3 days after. And most of the archers know that. The kind of cool thing, this past summer, I got to shoot standing up all summer, and I got to go get my own arrows.
Oh, yeah.
It was so liberating. I could see where my arrows landed on the target, you know, because it looks different because of parallax, you know, than through a spotting scope.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to like work the little charts and, you know, write down things or do the little buttons on the electronic scoring, and felt like a grown up. It was fabulous. And people kept coming up to me like, Lee, it is so cool watching you walk to the target. And shit, stupid girl emotions. First of all, you're being very stalky, you know, just watching me all the time. It's just, I joke, I deflect, I do that all the time. But having people be happy for me to walk more.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's so great. And there's going to be a day where I'm not going to walk on a daily basis, probably. Like my hips are just going to be like, they're not going to go back in, and there's really no surgery. Like I could do it. Maybe, I don't know that a hip replacement would do it because it's not my bones.
Right.
My bones it is all the connective tissue. So at some point, you know, like my legs might not hold me up just for, you know, half the day even. So just to make it possible to stand up and get something off a shelf, or stand up and get something, you know, at the grocery store, and sit back down, you know, might have to adapt my life that way. But having this time of more movement, dude, you have no idea. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. I'm filled to the brim with gratitude for that. And just, you know, just being able to be in my shoe and not feel like there's something wrong, that I'm walking on marbles, or there's half my foot is numb and half the foot is not numb. So it feels like there's something in my shoe with me it's still me, but it's gross. It creeps me out. Nerve damage is weird.
Yeah.
But you know, and I think part of why it's like strangers aren't too weirded out is because once I'm in my chair for a while, I'm not like up and running around afterward. It's like this slow hobble kind of thing with the cane and wall surfing, furniture surfing as they call it, you know, where you're grabbing onto whatever's close by that's not nailed down, or that is nailed down, I should say.
Right.
That would be so bad. Oh God. Yeah. And so it's a gradual process. It's a gradual process to like kind of needing the chair, and trying to get out of the chair, and really not until like I'm down for like 8 hours flat will I have like a true recovery from even a 2 to 3 hour flight.
Yeah.
Going to Europe and or Asia. Horrible. I woke up on the flight from, where were we? Japan to Thailand. There we go. It was a flight from Japan to Bangkok, from Tokyo Narita to Bangkok. And I was down hard. I was sleeping. And I tried to kind of shift in my seat, and I woke up screaming because my knees were out. Oh. And so like the bottoms of my legs were just kind of hanging off the seat. And they had apparently fallen off my backpack that I use as a little footrest. And so I was like, you know, my legs were just kind of swinging and my knees were out. And so when I went to move, it woke me up, and I woke up screaming and
oh,
sorry. It's so much fun. So yeah, it's kind of like a process going down and going up. So I haven't had anybody be like weird, you know. I'll be the first one to like make a joke of it, and kind of, I think it helps people feel more comfortable if I'm being, kind of funny about it.
Yeah, because
So
it makes their discomfort like,
like, okay, I know it's weird. It's
yeah.
fine. Feel weird. I don't mind, it's going to be okay. We can get through this.
Right. So you have traveled and competed all over the world.
Yes.
What's kind of the coolest place that you've been?
Oh gosh. Well, uh, wow. Well, define coolest.
That's up to you.
Um, well, if I want to go to as far out of my normal Western culture as possible, Thailand was probably it. I mean, that was just amazing. And we got to go to the Temple of the Emerald Buddha and go see the Grand Palace, and we do a bunch of touristy stuff. And it was amazing. That was amazing. And we went to this really cool mall. It's so funny.
What?
But it was like, I mean, it's oppressively hot, like Georgia there. Yeah. And all the people who from like the northern states who were on the team they were dying. They were dying. So we need air conditioning. We're like, okay, we'll go shopping. And so like part of the mall was like very, normal department store. But then inside it was like the souk in Morocco.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Morocco. I don't know. Anywho, so it was air conditioned, but it was cool. You could barter and stuff. And it's like, I had to barter. I'm like, honey, stay with me. We're gonna, you're not paying full price. No. We'll work this out. And like in my family, talking somebody's down is an art form. And riding the escalator in Thailand up and down in my wheelchair, that was fun because it got some looks like,
yeah,
they're about to panic, and I'm like, she's going backwards to the escalator, and I'm like, yeah, okay, and you're just going down. You're holding on.
Awesome.
But Morocco was really fun too, because we did go to the souk, and there were monkeys.
Yeah.
And I hobbled around the souk because it was all like cobblestones, and I had friends with me. I had the Whifflers, and so I knew I was like, Alex is pretty big. He could drag me out of the market if we had to, and I had my cane and everything. So that was amazing. The bathrooms in the airport in Morocco, they had disabled bathrooms, and the sink was actually low enough that I wasn't like this trying to wash my hands.
Yeah.
It was down where it should be. So like, like water isn't running all down your arm, and the sink was at the appropriate level for someone in a wheelchair. In Morocco. Dude.
It's amazing that is so notable though,
I know. I've been in France and Italy and all these places with disabled rooms. America, God, they're all regular rooms. They just have a bigger door on the bathroom, right, and a bunch of handrails and maybe a seat that sticks into the tub. But an actual sink, it was in Morocco, and then there was one like that in Turkey at the airport. Like, shut my mouth. That was just, it blew my mind. Like someplace where I would not think that disability access would be all that great.
Right.
At a sink where it should be if you're in a chair. And I'm like, I'm washing my hands. And I'm not I'm not like this.
Right.
Washing my hands like I am in Atlanta. And then trying to lean your boobs on the counter so you can reach, because you're trying to reach. Like,
so
I need a towel.
Yeah.
So, and then the whole thing is wet because no one wipes up after themselves.
Right.
It's like, dude, what's the matter with you? Who taught you how to use a restroom? So then your chest is all wet, and your sleeves are wet because you're trying to get the paper towel that is across the far end of this counter.
Yep.
Fuck you. Who designed this crap? No, let me go to Morocco and I can wash my hands and dry them right here. Because you have to dry your hands. Trying to push a wheelchair with wet hands doesn't work. You just slide,
Yeah.
slide. Doesn't work. So, excuse my language, but dude. Yeah, just funny things like that, around the world. Yeah, so I don't know, Morocco or Thailand. They were both amazing. The food was so good.
Yeah, totally.
So good. Yeah, both places. Although the food in Torino, Italy, I don't know. Yeah. And they had gluten-free pasta. So it was like no big deal. Oh yeah, here you go.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, I've eaten well. As you can see, I'm an archer, my favorite shape is round. Just be like, oh yeah, baby. Oh. Oh, it's really hard to stick it out now. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. Some amazing stuff. And but you travel enough and people are people. There's good people, there's jerks.
Yep.
There's people like, oh, hey, what's up? There's a guy in London who, when we were going around sightseeing with my family, there are no elevators at the tube stations. Nothing's accessible. So there might be an escalator or something. So you ride the escalator in your wheelchair, no big deal. And I'm like, we see Brazil's going down while I'm going up. Hey, what's going on? And holding on tight. But then it would I would get out of the chair and try to get up these steps to get from from the concourse up just to the street. And so we got to this one set of steps and this guy just grabs the front of my chair at where you're supposed to, on the frame. I'm like, okay, let's go. And so everybody grabbed, aside. We had a bunch of people and they just schlepped me up the steps. I didn't have to get out and hobble up the steps. Just random dude. And then he just walked off. Off he went.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's like, thanks, dude. And it's a lot of people in London.
Yeah.
People are amazing all over the place. And people can honestly assholes anywhere.
Yep.
Nobody owns the patent on that. But they're really outnumbered by amazing souls out there, just amazing people. Absolutely. Yeah.
God. So to change the topic a smidge, you are one of the first people that I'm aware of that was doing fire performance in Atlanta.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah. So
yeah.
How did you get started doing that? How'd you learn?
I saw Eli Ryman spin fire and I went, I have to learn how to do that now. I made some sock poi. I, was like, yes, whacking myself left and right.
Yeah.
Tennis ball practice poi. I've made friends with burners and oh, here, try this trick and here, try this trick. And I'm like, yes. And, when your poi are lit the first time and you start moving them around and you hear that roar, that just a muted roar of those flames and the plasma's coming up and oh my God, it's hot. It's so hot. And it's hot temperature wise, but it's amazing. And I was like, that's it. I learned how to do everything. And I'm like, hey, let me pick your brain. Hey, how do I do this? Hey, what are you doing there? How do I practice that? And when I want to learn how to do something, I learn how to do something. I apply myself.
Yep.
So I'm working at a law firm in downtown Atlanta. And so as soon as the weather was nice, I'm outside and I nuke my food, out I go. I spun poi for about half an hour and practice everything, and with my ridiculous flexibility, I could do some stupid stuff pretty quick, and not always in a good way.
Right.
And then read my book and eat for 20 minutes and then go back inside. Like that was every day, I practiced all the time. I learned how to make silks so I can make silk flag poi and veil poi so I could, do this belly dancing and stuff and then combine the two. And I started doing seminars like, hey, you're a belly dancer who wants to do fire, or you're a fire performer who wants to dance better? I'm your bitch.
Right.
And did those. I met this woman who became my best friend. We lost her about 4 or 5 years ago. She had rheumatoid arthritis and lupus and everything, and eventually an aneurysm in her brain. But like I've got standing invitations all over the country to, hey, come hang out, come up to Richmond, come out to San Diego, come out to Texas, come to Florida. We'd love to have you. And it was just, I guess I'm a fire spirit at heart. I'm a fire spirit who doesn't smoke, which is, gotta watch the lungs. And I have burned myself so many times.
Yeah.
I'm not scarred hideously. Apparently that is my superpower, is to heal burns, to leave no trace whatsoever.
I have these like strange stripes on my hands from, yeah.
I should have monkey fist Kevlar face marks like here and here from when the poi got past my hands. This big poi smacked myself in the face with white gas. Ha!
Yikes.
Oh, that was bad. But apparently it is my superpower to heal burns. I scar everything else badly. But I think it's something about the EDS.
Yeah, I think it is.
Collagen is different. So if I was going to pick an activity, I picked the right one.
I guess so.
I love fire performing. I love it. And I was spinning poi the other day, and I was just like, yeah, we're raving. Amber's streaming on Twitch, and I'm spinning glow poi and everything, and it's literally crickets because I live in the middle of nowhere. It was so much fun. My theory is you are a 2-unit person or you are a 1-unit person. 1-unit people do staff or conversely maybe snowboard, whereas a 2-unit person does poi and skates or skis.
So independent movement of, I gotcha.
Yeah, you can handle one thing or you can handle 2 things, and they're both equally valid preferences. I guess it's a preference maybe. But yeah, I think people kind of break down into those subgroups pretty easily.
That makes
sense. And I'm a unit.
Yeah.
I'm a for what it's worth. I don't know. Could be worth nothing. Nothing.
So what did you think you were going to do when you grew up?
I had no clue.
Yeah?
I had no clue. I worked a job because my mom worked there, and she got me in. And then I kind of bounced around. It wasn't until I got to law that I really went, doing this in high school was great. Yeah, I love research. I love looking for stuff. I love being, digging through and finding details and whatnot. And so eventually, in my 30s, I found what I wanted to do when I grew up.
Yep.
And plus, I didn't go to college right away after high school. My gap year lasted for about 6. And because I was speed skating. and I had a lot of stuff going on. And
Wait, can we talk about that?
sure, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What was the
Speed.
speed skating? What was that all about?
Okay, so after ballet, but before belly dancing, there was speed skating. And turns out I wasn't all that great in terms of my stamina because Crohn's disease and EDS, it was the wrong sport. Archery is much better fit for the way I'm personally broken. But I, skate fast, turn left.
Right?
So much fun. So much fun. I mean, I was a bull. Oh my God. I'd be in my speed skates in Philadelphia, and we do city skates where you meet at the top of the art museum, we skate around, we go through the city, blah blah blah, and I would be towing 10 men.
Wow.
I mean, I cannot get jeans that fit because my ass and thighs were so thick. They're just like the waist would just be like, boom. And then that became a thing when you had your waistline down, around your hips. Fine. But for a while there, yeah, I'm like, oh, thank God when Relaxed Fit came out. Oh my God. It was like, hey, I have pants on. This is fabulous. And they're not sweatpants. Yeah, speed skating. It's how I got hurt originally. The little ticking time bomb that was in my spine got put there by speed skating.
Oh.
Oops. Yeah. So, but you know what? It was fun. I loved it. My coach, Buggy Almond, is still skating. He's like in Masters 70 right now, I think. He either is and is setting records. It's like he just has not stopped. The man is a machine. and he's very much old school, no pain, no gain. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I always had wanted to hey, and I found his wife and everything on Facebook, but they were like, they don't know who I am. I don't go by my name that I use in Philly anymore. God, because in the South, nobody can say or spell Eileen. I'm Lee. It's so easy. Hi, I'm Lee. It's nice to meet you.
Right.
But hey, look, dude, I went to the Paralympics in something. It wasn't speed skating, but I went, and I think he'd be proud of me. And so it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. And yeah, I popped my ACL in my right leg, so I don't have an ACL tendon anymore. They don't know where it is. It's gone. All gone. Go bye. Do you know how far someone with EDS has to do before something actually breaks?
Yeah, I can only imagine.
My leg was like this. It was like sideways apparently. That hurt.
Yeah.
So I can't really skate so much anymore. And then once I got hurt in my spine, crap.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing is have skates and a train pass, and I could go do any city. It'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and speed, and you know what? It's fine because speed skating has yet to make it into the summer games, and I'm talking inline.
Yeah.
So like old school quads, the 4 side by side, and then it came inlines, and I mean, there's some sexy boots, from Australia called Bonds. I was like, oh my gosh, these are so cool. You had to put them in the oven and then put them on your feet and then lace them up as tight as you can in the thinnest socks you owned.
Oh, so
to make
they
sure
mold?
that they folded.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're sitting there in the kitchen with your feet sticking out. Like, well, now what do I do? Well, we can watch TV. I'm like, well, how am I going to get there? And he just, pick me up, throw me. I was much smaller then. There's a lot of cardio. Let's go watch TV with my feet sticking out for, an hour. It's good time. So much fun.
I did not know about that.
Yeah, it literally seems like another lifetime ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a completely different state.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like I did it in school, because I retired and then I went back to school. And then I realized, hey, it took going back to school really to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, when I grew up. Because Lord knows I was not growing up speed skating. I mean, I was, living at home and, and, I was, and then and competing. And then when I retired, I actually went part-time so I could go to school full-time. So I was still living at home. And my parents were really proud of me. I was going to college. College was not a thing that, I come from a very blue collar background. My dad wore a blue shirt. He had dirt under his fingernails. I remember my mom worked in a hardware store for years, and I can paint, I can hang sheetrock, do drywall, I can mud it. I can do some basic electrical. So, I'm handy, I know how to cut wood, and I got my own circular saw, will travel. I'm really proud of being, fairly handy to have around the house. I have my limits, and I know when I should call in a professional, like, no.
Right.
and now that I'm old, oh yeah, no, just call the professional. Dude, no. I haven't got the time. Not efficient anymore. But yeah, I mean, I painted my kids' room once to look like the city of Townsville from the Powerpuff Girls. I did tile and I did custom tile work on stairs and custom paint jobs on walls everywhere. So it's fun. It's fun. So going to college was a big deal. Going to college was a very, very big deal. And I thought I was going to be a chemistry teacher, and then I would have to do calculus. So I said, oh, hell no. So I switched from chemistry to art, and I have my degree in art, which is why I work as a paralegal to pay the bills.
Right.
Right. Like, but having the degree where you learn critical thinking, where you learn how to do research and all that stuff. And then, starting work at a law firm, I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. And I got my paralegal certificate, and I've never looked back. I love what I do. I love where I'm at in Macon. They're really great people up there. We're considered essential. So I've been working from home this whole time. I finally got my home office somewhat ergonomic, so I can stop like typing on a keyboard and going, oh God, oh God, oh God. I was like, why do I hurt so much? Like, duh. You heavy, first person to make their workspace at work ergonomic for doing it at home. Because it takes a village, apparently. And so it only took me a month. Minor details.
So being at home, are you finding that you're relying on any different daily rituals than you used to? Or, what are some of the daily rituals that you have?
Yeah. I've been tending to go to work still in my pajamas. So that's a different ritual, because I'll just like get up and start checking my email, 7:30, like, setting a work boundary is definitely hard. And I'll be here, I'm here all day, and then I'll be like, oh, let me just go ahead and knock this out on Saturday night. It's fine. Yeah, boundaries, they're a thing. So I kind of had to like turn everything off, close it, turn off all the lights, and just walk past it. Just walk past the computer. But the only thing I think that's really the same is I got to have my tea in the morning with 2 cups of tea. There's no functioning before. No. But I don't have to travel. I still use my travel mug, I'm like, I'm not traveling anywhere. I'm not in the car. I don't need a travel mug. However, it's very comforting. So I'm
Totally.
not going to spill it everywhere, which, I would do.
We are essentially at our time here.
Oh my gosh.
And
Ready? That was so fast.
so one last question before we go. And
Okay.
then stick around. We'll say goodbye to everyone else, and I want to say goodbye to you offline. Um,
Okay.
but last question. What's the best advice that anyone has ever given you?
That's easy. Relationships determine results. RDR.
Ooh, yeah.
Uh, my archery coach, his name is Jim White, and Jim worked for Big Brown, UPS, back before they went public and they were a completely employee stock owned company. And he worked his way up from being a driver and delivering packages. I really wish there were some pictures of him in the brown shorts. That would just be so cute. He's awesome. I love Jim to pieces. He's got some. You think I have good stories? No. He's got some amazing stories. But he worked his way up through human resources, and his boss back in the day had a little plaque said relationships determine results, and that is Jim's thing. It is, he's on it. Like, your relationships in your life, your family, your coworkers, your campmates at a burn, your neighbors, what have you. Relationships you have with these people determine the results that you will have in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Whether you have a new normal and you need to have a relationship with your prosthetist or orthotic guy, and mine are awesome. I love them. Or you have a relationship with the guy who fixes your coffee every day. And you thank him and you're really nice to him and you go, hey, this is great. I always get such great service when I come in here. I want to thank you guys. Every time you come in after that, you will get great service every time. And it's tiny little things that you can do in relationships with you have every human being you interact with on the planet. You can make that relationship work for your life and make your life better if you work on that relationship just a little bit. It's so tiny. You go into the bank and be like, hey, I get the best service when I'm in here. Thank you guys so much. They're going to know your name. They're going to know your account number. They're going to call you up when something looks janky, just even before the automated system gets it, like, hey, we saw this thing the application you put in. I'm going to make sure that this gets taken care of. At work, like, hey, I'm the one who constantly puts the big, heavy packages of bottled water in the fridge, and I make sure the bottled water is over to the open side. The cold ones are on the open side, and I open them up with a knife so they can get the water, and I put the warm water over here that are harder to get to so that they can eventually get cold and then get moved over. And little details like I want to make sure people can get their water, stay hydrated, piss clear. It's a burner thing. Saying that for my archer friends. I know you know how to piss clear. You do shit. But yeah, RDR, relationships determine results. You have to make sure that you treat your family with respect and the boundaries they need or don't need or, what have you. And it's a little bit of communication, a little bit of gratitude. I would not have made it to the Paralympics without it was a huge team of people.
Yeah.
When I started archery, my daughter was she's learned how to cook and do laundry. She learned how to boil rice, but now this kid is a chef. She's currently cooking for the nurses up at my niece's hospital unit for tonight so they can have dinner. She's making them like gourmet comfort food. And she loves to cook, so like, okay. And has turned into my nutritionist / trainer.
Oh, that's
My
awesome.
husband taking care of me, making sure I had everything I needed to travel or whatever. He always used to drive me to the airport and
Yep.
come get me. So, because he remembered coming home from the first Gulf War and not having anyone welcome him. My first trip to England, he had a big sign, Unga Bunga welcomes, Heart's Flame Goddess, and it was just so like, oh my God. My sister, who, was my manager for the longest time, like, she took care of all the details. I make her the president of the archery club, so I don't have to do all the paperwork. To see people in my community, like when we got donations. Colonel Pencil, again, thank you. It was amazing. I didn't get there by myself. The coaching that I got, my coach, the para coach, what Team USA did for me, people who donate to Team USA, people who, like, hey, I'll sign up for some archery lessons. So, you have some money coming in, kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible how it goes into making one person look successful. It takes a village. It's like running joke. It takes a village. It takes a village. It's true, because I didn't do it by myself. No, I'll be the first person to say, let me introduce you to my entourage over here. It's a lot of people doing a lot of things to help me out, and, like, they add up. So those relationships I have in my life have definitely determined my results for sure. So
that's awesome. And we're definitely going to end there.
awesome. Because I've been talking way too much.
So let's say goodbye to everyone.
Bye, everyone.
And you stick around for just a second. I'm going to turn this thing off.